Chris, before we start, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
I wasn't talking. I mean, yeah, happy. It's your birthday. Congrats.
Thank you.
Your birthday was last week. You're the big 35 now.
Oh, you're right. There was another birthday.
We've been doing this for a year.
We have been doing this for a year?
It was a year after technically the last episode. We maybe should have done it then.
Yeah.
And I also had a lot of bits I had prepared that I've been thinking about throughout the year that I have just lost. I have no idea where they are.
Well, we did a couple of bits here. You just can't see them. Boy, aren't they good bits. Look at this. Look how funny this is. When I pulled this thing and then,
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's a good bit, isn't it? Yeah.
What about this one over here, though? Hold on, I gotta... Yeah, obviously I have to turn this crank.
All right, I can do it.
Right? That one's good.
It's a pretty good bit, yeah.
It's less racist than yours, so I think it's better.
Yikes. Was mine racist?
Mine was racist too, but it's not nearly as bad as yours.
Good thing nobody can see that. Because I didn't mean for mine.
I mean, they're both fine, but yours is like Blazing Saddles bad, and mine is like the end of Ace Ventura bad, so.
Oh, that's not good. Blazing Saddles is way better than that.
Yeah, but it's still more racist.
No. It's written by Richard Pryor. The whole joke the whole time is that racism is dumb.
I know. Yeah, that's one. Yeah, okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, mine was worse then.
Yours was worse.
Oh, no, cut that. Cut it all. So anyway, happy anniversary.
Thank you.
What is this, paper for us? I don't know.
The first year's paper, I think.
Is it?
We give each other paper.
Oh, I pulled that out of my ass. I'm so happy.
I was just handing your bit.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, it's paper. Yeah, here's.
Look at all this paper.
It's so funny because this is the first week I don't have mail for you.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. Very symbolic.
Yeah.
Gift. Just 3 empty envelopes to remind me of all the letters to have come and that all that will come.
Yeah, if you guys want to write us more letters, because we're running low on fan. I don't know if you know this, but we have people writing reviews for movies, and those are the movies that we watch. If you have one for us, we have closed our P.O. box, so we can't take physical mail.
3 envelopes, because this is going to run for 3 years.
Yeah, but if you want to email us at eatingsoupalone@gmail.com, is that correct?
That's true.
You send us our comments. You can send us comments, questions, concerns. You need advice, we'll help you with that. You want to write in a movie review. You want to ask us out on a date. Ladies, Chris is single. Go ahead and ask him that. If you just
want to joke around a little bit, we also have a secret Hotmail.
Oh, we do?
esapod@hotmail.com.
Yeah, email us if you want to ask Chris out on a date. Ask on that one.
That's where it gets spicy.
Eating Soup Alone is a podcast hosted by me, Christopher Crumley, and co-hosted by Nicholas Johnson. We try our best to ramble incoherently about a handful of movies at least once a week.
Well, surprisingly, I know this is abnormal, but this week we watched 2 movies.
We did. We watched...
Kind of breaking it up a little bit, doing a little something different, seeing how it works out.
Yeah. And instead of them being entwined or sequels or related to each other in any way, we watched just 2 random movies.
A little bit related. They both involve some police work. Yeah.
Absolutely.
2 of perhaps the best police movies.
Hey,
besides End of Watch, which is undeniably the best one.
The lead characters of these 2 movies are 2 of the 3 fictional police officers I like. Chris, can you guess the third?
Yeah, it's Columbo.
Yeah. Great job.
Easy one. Do you have a preference for which goes first?
Yeah, obviously.
Okay, what goes first?
Columbo.
No, God, I meant in terms of what we talked.
Oh, I thought you wanted me to rank my top 3 movies.
Yeah, you rank them. Go ahead.
Fictional cops. It's Columbo. It's RoboCop.
Okay.
It's Ace Ventura.
All right. I don't get to see enough of how RoboCop gets down, police style.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
He shoots that guy in the penis.
He does do that.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And there's 2 more RoboCop movies you can watch.
Are they good?
No, I don't think so.
Are they fun?
I don't know.
Are they metal?
I know that one of them has to be metal because I think it's RoboCop 2 was written by Frank Miller.
Do they go to space?
No. I mean, you probably could if you wanted to, but I don't think they go to space. No, I think it's like the late 90s at that point, which is when everyone was going to space. So RoboCop might go to space. Hold on. Let's see. RoboCop space? Question mark? No, RoboCop does not go to space.
Wow. So it sounds like Nick and I are going to write a RoboCop script. What kind of space crime could he bust up?
Oh, all of it.
Name one space crime.
Grand Theft Space Auto. I don't know. You steal a spaceship, then you go to space jail.
Oh, I could see that, like a billionaire hijacked space station or something like that, and he's got to go up there, or maybe even terrorist or something, kind of do a Die Hard in space, but it's RoboCop.
Yeah, because they're going to crash it into old Detroit.
Dude, listen to that pitch.
Yeah, it's great.
Die Hard in space, but it's RoboCop?
So
Give me money.
what is it? Lockout, but with RoboCop? Is that what that movie's
Don't
called?
you know what Lockout is? But yeah.
It's Die Hard in space, I think.
All right, cool. It's like that movie Ascension. Is that a movie? Arrival? No, which one's
They both are, yeah.
Sandra Bullock in space?
Gravity.
George Clooney?
It was
Yeah.
neither of those.
There
It was
you go.
Gravity.
Yep. So this week we watched Gravity and The Color Purple.
Now, you know me. I'm not a huge fan of Prince, but Chris, I like this movie.
No, but do you for real have a preference in which movie we talk about
No, I don't
first?
care.
All right, we'll choose.
We'll do Ace Ventura, because you've never seen RoboCop, correct?
No, I've seen RoboCop.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Chris.
Yeah.
I think we have this conversation every time RoboCop comes
It
on.
does,
I go,
we do,
you
yeah.
haven't seen RoboCop, right? And you go, no, I've seen RoboCop. We'll start with Ace Ventura, I guess.
Sounds good. Alrighty then.
Ace Ventura, released in 1994, starring Jim Carrey, Courtney Cox, and the Miami Dolphins.
One specific dolphin more than the others.
Sparkle? Is that his
Dan
name?
Marino.
Dan Marino.
But yeah, you're right. That was the name of the dolphin. That was a good bit.
Chris, you know what other two movies came out the same year as Pet Detective?
Schindler's List and Saving Private Ryan.
No, Chris. Maybe. I don't know when those movies came out. But in the same year, also 1994, fucking The Mask and Dumb and Dumber.
Big year for Carrie.
The biggest year for, I'd say, probably anybody. It's insane.
It's a huge year.
Yeah.
Mask, probably better than Pet Detective.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
I don't have many fond memories about Dumb and Dumber.
I'm gonna say with Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, there's a big elephant in the room.
That there's no rhino in this one.
Yeah, but there's another big elephant right next to that elephant.
Is it the trans stuff?
Yeah, it's wearing a T-shirt that says transphobic.
Yeah, you want to talk about that right at the top?
Let's get rid of that.
Yeah, let's throw it away immediately.
What the fuck?
What the fuck, dude? When she starts making out with him on the desk,
I immediately clocked.
the gun joke, and I was like, is this gonna be like are we gonna do a bad transphobic, like trans fear joke right here? And then they didn't. I was like, whew. Ace Detective Pet Ventura, you got off clean this time. You
Yeah.
were close, but I respect that you didn't do it. And then the whole final act of this movie is just
Is
one
egregious. You know what's especially egregious? We'll build up to it, but I'm just gonna. I am stunned that the like Scooby-Doo unmasking that happens in this movie is Ace Ventura stripping a trans woman to prove
Yeah,
their genitalia.
yeah,
Insane.
yeah. It's tough for
It is.
sure.
Yeah.
Like I thought for sure it was going to be a double twist,
Yeah.
and Ace Ventura is
Was
an
wrong.
asshole.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, no, man, don't.
Yeah.
But no,
Nope.
he gets vindicated.
Yeah. That was the part that was especially like, you know, in my head I was always like, oh yeah, they do kind of like
Doo-doo.
they do a couple of bad, but then the stripping thing I was like, oh, they took it full far.
Yeah.
The other bit is when he finds out that he's kissed a trans woman. He definitely scrubs his mouth and takes a shower and burns his clothes, and it's definitely classic trans fear stuff.
No, it sucks.
It does. So that's gonna what do we do? It's so tricky. Like, I've heard discussion online about like there was a tweet the other day that was like, love when I go home to watch a quote-unquote classic movie that my white friend recommended me just to hear the N-word 6 times.
Yeah.
And like someone commented specifically about The Shining. They were like, dude, those like 3 N-words come out of nowhere in The Shining. And I'm like, yeah, they do.
Yeah, they really do.
And so that's kind of how I feel about this. Like, I think it's funny. I think it's a classic of the 90s, but like this is like, it's mega problematic also.
Yeah, because like...
And like, what do you do? Like, just like, because I feel like morally compelled to
because
F it out of the room, but I feel like I'm jumping ahead, but like do I compromise by giving it like a D minus?
It's so tough because it really, because I don't think before this I'd ever seen all of this movie.
Okay. Interesting. I didn't know that.
Like there's a lot of it that I definitely remember. I think up until like the party at the house where he falls in the shark tank is probably as far as I've seen.
Okay.
But that stuff starts to pop up at the end. Like I can't emphasize enough how much this is the last 10 minutes of this movie for some reason. And like when they like the like, oh, your gun is poking me joke, and then him being like putting it together that, oh, Ray Fickle might be this woman. I was like, okay, this movie was made in 1994, just like the N-bombs in The Shining or Shaun of the Dead. This is going to come, I'm going to go, oof, and then the movie's going to move on, and I'm going to go, God, we used to suck in 1994, huh?
Yeah.
And then I can go, but Ace Ventura is a funny movie besides all that, and then this movie just goes, and it's like, I can't, like, Chris, I have this page here written down of all my favorite jokes in this movie.
Yeah, I wrote down the same thing.
I don't know if I even want to do it. And we're the wrong people to be talking about this 100%. But
absolutely.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah. This is not me virtue signaling, but it is. I just thought about that when you said that, like, as a straight white dude, this is hard to watch. You know what I mean? Imagine.
Yeah.
Imagine how bad,
exactly.
Right? Imagine. So that really hurts it. It really does.
It really does, because like I don't know if I want to talk about the rest of this movie if I'm being honest.
So I think that's about where I'm going to put it. I'm going to put it as like, that's deplorable. And pretty much tanks the movie. But up until that point,
this movie's pretty funny.
it can be funny at times. Yeah.
Let me rephrase. Jim Carrey is pretty funny in this movie.
Not the biggest Jim Carrey fan personally.
Okay.
It's his style. It's his thing. But I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of it. Just like the over the top and the silly faces and the silly voices. Yeah. It's very like, it's almost like he's like Carrot Top, but the prop is his body.
Yeah, and I like it well enough. I know his...
It works really well for the Grinch.
Yeah, when he's doing
funny.
Stand-up, like that was his thing, and he'd have characters when he was doing stand-up. And it's something I hear him say all the time is like, yeah, people just want to be relieved of like stress or like the fact that they have to be on for somebody or whatever. He's like, so one of my first jokes when I was a stand-up was I would come out and say, hey, ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing tonight? Alrighty then. Just skipping right past it because I don't care.
Yeah.
You don't care. And everybody laughs because everyone just feels that release of tension.
Yeah.
And it turns out he read the Ace Ventura script and was like, oh, I'm just going to do that guy.
Yeah.
That guy's going to be Ace Ventura. So that's why he says that all the time in this fucking movie.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that's why I think this is more over the top Jim Carrey than probably anything else.
Oh, yeah.
But I like it well enough. Yeah. I don't think I like it enough to watch an Ace Ventura 2 or an Ace Ventura Jr. or whatever that movie is.
I am going to watch Ace Ventura 2, and I'm probably going to make you do it for the podcast. Not next week, but eventually.
Okay.
Maybe next week.
You better scope out to see if it's
not
PC enough for this libtard to watch.
No, it's not as problematic as this one is.
Okay.
It might not be at all, but I think I'm going on a limb by saying that.
Yeah, that's what I would have said about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right from the rip, though, I'm just going to go ahead and go down my list of jokes. You can come in whenever you got things. From the rip, that's definitely the first thing I started pegging was like just the memorable lines, right? Like you've got the, oh, alrighty then. And then he constantly does the loser. right? And one that I say all the time is definitely when he like just whips into not a parking spot and goes like a glove.
It's the first one I have written down. Yeah.
But yeah, from the rip, yeah, he's stealing that dog. He's doing the UPS joke. The UPS
Great.
joke.
Love it.
Okay. I've seen it a million times. But the first part that hits me with that one is he's finally back in the car with the dog. What's the dog's name?
I don't know if you.
Yeah, whatever. He's in the car with the dog. He's successfully stolen the dog from the man with the mustache and the curly hair.
Mm-hmm.
He pops the thing. He's like, "You want some food? Here's some food, whatever." And he turns over the key and he goes, "Hey, it gets flooded from time to time. We'll just wait a second." And the guy smashes the windshield and he's like, "Or we'll try right now."
Yeah.
That got me.
It's great. It's great.
Yes.
Guy smashes up the car.
Yeah.
The car starts on. He goes, "Oh, it's alive. It's great.
Yeah.
I love it."
Yeah.
And I love that this sets up maybe my favorite joke for the rest of the movie. Since his windshield is smashed, he drives with his head out the car, out the window like a dog the entire time.
I love it. I love it, especially when he drives Courtney Cox to another location at some point, and yeah, she does not make mention of like what happened to your car, or like, don't you think you should get that? She does nothing. She just lets him hang his head out and drive the car. I think about that all the time. The next thing I have is he comes to his apartment. He's trying to quietly open the key.
Okay.
And Hector from Breaking Bad comes along and goes,
"Yes, Satan."
Ventura. And he's like, "Yes, Satan?" And there's a bit of a beat and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were someone else." That always gets me. I always think about it. He tells him, "Yo, I need the rent." Ace Ventura is like, "I'm going to catch this pigeon for 25 G's and then you'll get your money." And then we get kind of a Cinderella joke because he's like, I hear animals in there. And he's like, "There's no animals. You want to look?" And he opens the door. There's no animals. And then he closes the door and he's like, "My woodland creature friends." And they all come. Whatever.
I have, let's see, I was trying to go in order for my jokes, but I think my first couple are a little bit out of order.
Okay.
Because I thought him pulling up and saying like a glove was when he pulls up to the stadium.
Yeah, it's way later. Way later.
Oh, okay.
That was just a section where I was talking about like just quotes that are just like omnipresent.
Oh, gotcha.
Like,
That's basically what my list is.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. I don't know why it made me laugh so hard. I do know why. It's because it's funny. When they're showing him around the stadium, and they're like, "Yeah, what's her name? Recommended you to us." And he goes, "Oh, right. Oh, yeah, the bitch."
Yeah.
So good. And then my favorite line from the movie always makes me laugh. It's really the ones I remember. We have it written on our fridge for some reason.
Yes.
I don't remember why.
Yeah.
But if I'm not back in 5 minutes, just wait longer. Yeah. It's so good.
It is good. But yes. So basically, what happens is we cut to a board meeting with Courtney Cox and like maybe the head coach of the Dolphins and then the guy who like owns the Dolphins, I guess. And this dolphin that they're going to use for some trick during the halftime has been stolen. And this the reason why I bring it up is because there's another line in here that I think. I mean no disrespect when I say it, but I feel like this line has the potential to be so funny, but the character just isn't. The guy who owns the Dolphins, there's a point where he literally says, "I don't give a good goddamn about the fish. Fillet it and fast food it. All I care about is winning the Super Bowl." And it just seems like something where like almost like I feel like if like like the guy from I Think You Should Leave said it, like I feel like he could land it where like that's a funny line, like just. It's such a caricature of like this guy who's for him to even say all I care about is winning the Super Bowl is just like,
I love it.
We can cut this bit or whatever, but just like that thing where he's like, "I've been waiting a long time for a hit on Spectrum TV." Like I feel like he could just nail that, like how ridiculous the idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to bring up something we went past, which I think is really important to this movie that I don't think gets talked about enough.
Okay.
He rescues that dog at the beginning.
That's true.
Brings it back to his owner.
Uh-huh.
And then the woman who owns the dog blows him like a tornado. Like he's hanging onto the rafters. She's blowing him so hard.
Yeah.
Don't know why. Don't know whose idea it was.
For Ace Ventura to fuck.
It had to be a Jim Carrey's idea of like, yeah, I think this guy should, instead of being an idiot, should actually be very good at his job. Even though people don't like respect him that much or whatever, but also he fucks like crazy. And also, you know what? When he fucks, he's really good at it, and everyone's going to be telling him, "Oh my God, you fuck so good, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective."
Yeah, because later him and Courtney Cox have tornado sex.
Absolutely. Also, I also just
4 times.
4 times. I want to point out that he's meant to be dressed like a goof The drip on this dude is insane.
Yeah, he's dripping.
If I saw someone dressed like Ace Ventura
I'd be
at a
like,
show
I have
at a
to
party,
know that guy.
I have to know this guy. I have to know where he goes, and I gotta get close with him.
Yeah, for sure. He's dripped out. Yeah,
A couple times.
He's soaking.
A couple times during this movie, I was like, "Am I gonna start dressing like Ace Ventura?"
I know,
Pet
especially when
Detective?
he's just got like that tee with like the red on it, and he's wearing the shirt over, and he's got the striped pants.
Or he's at the party. He's got the blazer with the Florida shirt on under it.
Yeah.
Oh,
He looks fantastic.
like Elton.
Yeah.
He looks like Elton. I'm realizing it now. Our friend Elton dresses like Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
Except the button-ups.
Except the button-ups.
Yeah.
Elton's best in a button-up.
But yeah, so one of the next lines I have written down is his first meeting with Einhorn. I think he goes to... real quick. He's in the tank. He finds the gem. He does a very long Star Trek joke, which I guess is just lost on our generation personally. Like, I feel like Family Guy did this a lot when I was growing up. Like, comedies are always parodying Star Trek. I've never seen a scene of any Star Trek ever. So every time one of those happens, I'm always like, okay, cool, I'm going to tune out for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
That's not like, I'm not saying that in a snarky way where I'm like, don't parody the Star Trek. It's just, it's lost on me.
No, I know exactly what you mean. Every
yeah.
time I hear someone describe the plot to a good Star Trek episode, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, I gotta watch that.
Oh, I gotta watch that. And then I'll see some Star Trek and I'll go, nah, I'm good. I don't need to watch Star Trek.
Yeah, no doubt. But anyways, so he's been hired because Courtney Cox heard the receptionist say like, oh, I hired a pet detective and he was really good. And she's like,
yeah, the bitch.
Yeah, that's great. I'm gonna go to the cops. And she's like, oh no, he's really good. And then it hard cuts to like him be like pulling up and they're having the meeting and he's eating like sunflower seeds and she's showing him the tape of what Snowflake can do and he keeps just being like and like putting it on the table and stuff like that and she's like, can I get you an ashtray? And he's like no, it's a disgusting habit. He's got sunflowers all in his mouth. That's a fine joke. I'm only saying this because those are all important plot things. To run down the plot, basically someone kidnapped this big dolphin. They hire the pet detective to find the big dolphin. Yeah,
he goes to the cops.
he does go to the cops because he has a
with his
friend.
ass.
He does do the ass joke. The ass joke, it's fun.
It goes on too long, but it goes on long enough that by the end I was like, it's coming back
you
around.
Because like when he's doing the thing where he's holding on to the chair and he's like, oh, I can't calm him down.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah,
very funny. But he meets Einhorn. And
I'll call you later. Is your number still 911? So good.
that's exactly it. That is the line that I wrote down. Yeah. And then there's the other one where he says something like, I wanted to confess I was the other shooter on the grassy knoll or something like that. It's also funny.
So dumb.
But basically, some other things happen. He realizes that diamond is from like a 1984 championship ring from the Dolphins, right?
Yeah.
And there's a montage of him going around trying to check everybody's rings. And there's some funny jokes here, like him trying to run and like catch up to the guy so he can look at the thing. And there's the one where he's, getting the one dolphin to flick him off so he can look at it, with binoculars. The binoculars was a good touch because like I was like, oh, he's going to get him to flip him off. But then he pulls
It's great.
The one that kills me is the dolphin who walks up to the mailbox and dumps some mail in and he yanks his whole arm into the mailbox. That's a funny bit to me.
The one I think I like the best is when that guy in the shower punches him in the head and then he goes to the mirror and checks the indentation in his head to see if it has all the diamonds in it. It's great.
Yeah. If you have any more, say them now because there's one last joke I've written down.
For the rest of the movie?
Yeah.
I like when he comes back from the shark tank and he's all wet and he's like, don't go in there. That joke's fine. It's whatever.
Yeah.
When he's leaving, the guy's like, I'm sure I'll have the pipes checked. Sir, I'll have the pipe checked.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
When he
He's
starts
like,
wrestling with his arm?
No, before he starts wrestling with his arm, he's like, I'm so sorry this happened. He goes, yeah, if I had been drinking out of the toilet, I could have been killed.
Yeah, so like to get caught up to that bit, like, who is that guy that he's going to that house, that Ron Camp guy?
I don't know,
but he has the ring. He wants to check the ring. Oh, I think it's that's what it was. So he does the whole like New England clam chowder thing at the Cannibal Corpse concert to go talk to his buddy.
Cannibal Corpse in this movie. Insane.
He has a buddy that's like the lone gunman from the X-Files because yes, this is a movie from 1994. So yes, the protagonist has a hacker friend.
Yep, and I love a hacker friend. I love his two pairs of glasses.
Two pairs of glasses is a very funny.
And I love that his hacker friend hacks specifically fish.
Fish, yeah. And he's got like info on who has bought a 10,000 gallon tank or whatever the hell. And that Ron Champ guy has. So Courtney Cox brings Ace Ventura to the party. This is another little joke that I like. I like that he's like, his name is Tom Ace. Like Thomas. That's
great.
It's very funny. But yeah, he does that whole bit where he's like, he's doing the thing where he's like, yeah, one of the first things they teach you at Stanford is that you can make a pretty decent, like practice out of just handling cases that involve like food poisoning from billionaires or whatever. And he keeps just doing that bit to that guy, like. But anyways, yeah, he sneaks off. He goes, does a little
search and finds a shark.
James Bond joke and finds a shark instead of a dolphin. Yeah, comes back all shredded up and whatnot. That's when they have the conversation about the rings and how everybody on the team got the rings. So he starts checking the rings, yada, yada, yada. I was actually wrong. There's actually a couple more jokes here that I just skipped ahead on my own.
Oh, wonderful, because I have one left now.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, I had 2. Oh, no, I have 3.
Anyways, while he's doing all these shenanigans, there's a man who gets murdered. Is it the head coach that Courtney Cox was hanging out with? Yeah. He's there. Einhorn and the goons are like, yep, it was a suicide. And Ace Ventura does a Columbo. He goes, oh, just one more thing. And he basically lays out, like, there's like the rail. And he's like, oh, there's a little bit of blood there, whatever. And then I think the one more thing happens, whatever. And Einhorn basically gives him some guff. She's like, yeah, well, with the police, we usually deal in evidence. So if you don't have any evidence, then he's like, oh, yeah. That's when he does the one more thing, whatever. And he basically explains that, like, the neighbor heard the screaming. But these are double-planed, soundproof glass, so, he does the whole, bit and whatnot, and he does a whole booyah, because he showed everybody what's up. Great. He exhausts all the ring leads, and there's a point where he realizes there's an extra person, one more ring out there, a guy named Ron Finkel. Up until this point, in terms of story structure, this thing's hitting all the beats, right? Yeah. This is a perfect beat when you're like, oh shit, there was one more out there, right? Ron Finkel, he blew the game, laces out, all that kind of stuff, right? Ace tracks down Ron Finkel's parents specifically. Their house is trashed with, die, Finkel, die, and like choke, and like you choked, and all that kind of stuff. He goes in there to meet the parents.
Carrie White eat shit.
Yeah, to meet the parents. And, the mom's like, oh, Ron will be home soon. And she's like, I'm going to go get you cookies. And, her husband, the father, is like, Ron is not coming back. She's like, she's, the lights are on, but nobody's home kind of thing, right? Like, he's not coming back, whatever.
Engine's running, no one's behind the wheel.
Yeah. This next bit, I do like this joke. There's a point where she says, Dan Marino can die of gonorrhea and burn in hell. Would you like some cookies? That's funny. She takes him up to Ron Finkel's room. Ron Finkel's room just covered in like Dan Marino's with knives in them, and it says like "Die Marino, die" and all that kind of stuff. And she goes, "Sports freak, huh?"
Yeah, I love it.
Pretty good.
Great.
Then there's some other stuff that's like this is where it gets like a little like whatever. He has to like infiltrate the insane asylum that Ron Finkel was committed to, so he puts on a tutu and does a whole like dramatic like put me into the third coach.
Before that, 2 guys kidnapped Don Marino.
That is true, yes.
I do like the
during an isotoner commercial
where they're chasing him, or Ace Ventura is chasing them and they're shooting at him. He's like, come on guys, can't you hit me? And then he catches a bullet with his teeth.
Yeah.
Dumb, hate it, love it.
Does the mask do that too?
I don't know, maybe.
Huh. Interesting.
Anyway, then
they're at the institute. Courtney Cox is pretending to be his brother, talking to the doctor, and he's just being a goofball. Whatever. There is one bit that I like. There's the point where he's like at the water fountain and he's being crazy and stuff like that. And then he drops to his knees. There's a beat, and then he just slams his head on the stool and stays completely still.
I must have missed that.
Very funny.
It's good, yeah.
Yeah. And then she goes, what she says immediately after that, she's like, he'll be fine there for like 20 minutes. And then he breaks into the closet, finds this, personal affects box for Ron Finkel, and he finds very specifically a newspaper that mentions a missing hiker named Eloise Finkel or whatever. Or Einhorn or whatever.
Einhorn, yes.
Yeah, Einhorn.
This is one of the jokes I really like that I wrote down. When the guy starts coming into that room and he tries to hide inside the box.
Yeah.
And it's taking him so long, and the guy who's like 1 foot in the room eventually doesn't go in the room and shuts the door behind him, and he's just half of his body is crammed in that box, and then it just explodes out under him. I thought it was a good
Not bad.
I like it. So he finds all that evidence in that box, and then he's just beating his head trying to figure out what these two have in common, Einhold and Finkel. And he's just bumming around his apartment going, Einhorn, Finkel, Einhorn, Finkel. And he just can't figure it out. He's pacing with a monkey. Always a good joke in my opinion. You got a monkey standing next to a human doing the same thing that they are. Never not funny. I think you have to beat a monkey within an inch of its life to get it to do that, so I don't think that part's funny.
Yikes.
Yeah, did you know monkeys, just the way their brains are, they have I think it's you can get a monkey to do stuff like put on a little suit until it's 8 years old, because when it's 8, its brain grows enough that part of its skull pushes in on its brain, on the part where the part of its brain that keeps it docile and willing to do shit that you want it to do. And then as soon as it's 8, those stage monkeys that have been trained since birth to wear little suits and stuff, they get put down. It's a bummer.
Yikes.
Yeah. And then his dog jumps on a picture of Finkel, and it looks like he has long blonde hair, and so he goes, "Oh, Einhorn must be Finkel." And I don't get where the leap in logic is there, because it's not even the right color hair.
Or style hair. She has her hair up.
Yeah, and Finkel has a mustache.
She literally wears her hair up in a bun, the whole movie.
And also Finkel has a mustache, which I think is the most important part. I don't know if you've ever known someone only with a mustache and then they shave the mustache. That's a different man. So that's a huge plot hole in this movie that I don't like.
So basically, after he has that revelation with the monkey, the hair thing that makes no sense, the mustache, as you said, he presents Einhorn with his theory. He goes and meets with her. They have a long conversation. The thing I want to point out is there's a point at the very end where he's surmising, right? And he talks about how he found the rare stone at the bottom and from the Super Bowl ring and yada, yada, yada. Ray Finkel went to his parents' house, yada, yada, yada. My guess is Finkel was doing this. Committed the murder because so-and-so found out that, his guess is that Finkel was snooping around and that the head coach, noticed what he was doing or whatever, and so you killed that guy to get rid of it, yada, 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 right? And she's like, where's this all going? Where is he now then? And Ventura goes, he broke out of a mental hospital, did a Claude Rains, and has been planning his revenge for a year, waiting for the perfect time to get back at the Dolphins, the time when it would hurt them the most, Super Bowl time, man. I'm tired of being right. He goes, man, I'm tired of being right. The only reason why I read that whole thing is because the Did a Claude Rains, second movie reference to a Universal horror. That's the Invisible Man. That's the actor who plays the Invisible Man in the Golden Age Invisible Man movie. Did a Claude Rains is good. That's funny to me.
I'm real happy for you.
Yeah.
Last 2 jokes I've written down.
All right.
I love when he's at the dock at the end, and he knocks those 2 guards out, and he jumps down and goes, unconscious. Exactly as I planned. And then I love when I can't remember exactly what it is, but they cut away to Courtney Cox or something, don't worry, Ace has got it. He knows what he's doing. He's the toughest of the tough, the manest of the men. And it cuts to him with a gun to it. Einhorn has a gun to his head. And he goes, "Oh, don't kill me, please don't kill me. Kill Dan Marino. He's the one you wanted."
I like that they start arguing. He's like, "No, kill him," and he's like, "Kill him." She's like, "Shut up."
It's so good.
Only shut up.
And then a bunch of transphobic shit happens, and then the movie's over.
Yeah. Well, no, there's one little bit at the very end where he's being heralded as a hero at the Super Bowl or whatever. And he's beating up the mascot.
Yes, that's fun.
Yeah.
Einhorn, however you say her name.
Uh-huh.
Chris, what other movie is she in? This is going to happen for RoboCop 2. One of our lead female characters is in another movie, and I didn't recognize it.
I don't know. I don't recognize it.
She's Rachel from Blade Runner.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I was reading online. Apparently, according to the actress, I'm sorry, I can't remember her name off the top of my head. The reason that scene between her and Harrison Ford is so rapey is because Ridley Scott wanted to date her, and she said no. So he made that scene bad for her. That's what she claims.
That's horrifying.
Yeah. And then
awful.
Because of that, because they have that beef still, her and Ridley Scott, that's why she's in Blade Runner 2049, spoilers, for about 30 seconds, and it's not even her. It's like a CGI VFX face.
So all in all, Ace Ventura is a wildly offensive movie that's funny for 85% of it until it just starts nosediving into one of the most offensive things.
Yeah, 70 minutes of this 90-minute movie are very funny and fine to watch.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say D- with I guess a trigger warning, this is a content warning, it's
I don't.
It's like Birth of the Nation. I'm never gonna watch that movie, but oh my god, any movie or class I took related to movies always mentions Birth of the Nation, Birth of the Nation. It's Yeah, but I'm never gonna watch that. And that's kind of how I feel about like Ace Ventura. Like, I feel like this is a movie where like if you've seen it, let's quote it. If you haven't, I cannot recommend it.
Yeah.
It would be bad to co-sign on like.
Yeah.
You should watch Ace Ventura.
I think Ace Ventura is very funny. I'm going to give it a D- with a trigger content warning again as well. I think this movie's funny.
But goddamn, has it aged poorly?
But hey, listen, Ace Ventura's, it's aged poorly. Maybe we shouldn't watch it anymore. But hey, Chris, I got great news for you. There are 2 more Jim Carrey movies exactly like this that came out in the same year that you can watch.
Yeah, this is one of those things that's insane because around this time, A Tribe Called Quest put out their first album, and there's a song called Georgie Porgy, which the studio literally stepped in and said, hey, you cannot put this homophobic song out. You can't. So they re-recorded it with lyrics that have quote-unquote nothing to do with it, but it is about like the music business and how people like stifle creativity and stuff like that. And so like having known that, now I can't even enjoy that song because they're specifically writing that song about how upset they were that they couldn't be homophobic on their record. But anyways, all I'm saying is nobody on the whole team thought, hey, pump the brakes. Should a trans woman be stripped in front of an audience in the climax of this movie?
And they went, yeah, she got a wiener sticking between her butt cheeks. That's funny. That's what happened.
Yeah, I know. And that's one of the other things is like, okay, so like if we're talking about like giving something a little wiggle room because of the time, okay, I get the is that your gun poking my thigh joke. I get those kinds of things, but the climax section
Oh yeah, it gets
is
real bad.
Like so over the line in my opinion.
Yeah, and like everyone in the room is like pretending, is like throwing up and gagging and stuff
Yeah.
like that. It sucks.
Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to say is like I can absolutely understand like context, like the times are different, all that kind of stuff, but this one does cross the line in my opinion. In my humble opinion, I think it crosses the line.
Yeah, well, absolutely, yeah. So RoboCop.
RoboCop. Hey.
RoboCop, directed by Paul Verhoeven. Verhoeven, is that how you say it?
You're asking the guy who's the worst at names.
Is his
There's
first
someone
name
who
Paul?
there's a guy in this movie called Dan O'Hallery?
Oh, Halloran?
Not that one. He plays the old man, and he's also Cochran in
right.
Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, but I can't even say his name.
Directed by Paul Verhoeven, starring Peter Weller, and
An actual robot.
an actual robot.
Did you write down your favorite jokes about this one? Or
Yeah.
In this one? Really?
Yeah.
No kidding.
When RoboCop first shows up, and he gets the keys to the car, and Nancy wants to go with him, he goes, "I'll call you later. Is your number still 911?" No, I didn't write down any RoboCop jokes.
I wrote down a couple.
Fuck, what's her name? What's the...
Talking about Lewis? Or the
Yeah.
actress?
Both.
Her name?
And also starring Nancy Allen is Officer Lewis. Nancy Allen, we know from...
Don't know.
She's the mean girl from Carrie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is the 1,000th time I've seen RoboCop. Chris, I'm pretty sure this is the first time you've seen RoboCop.
No.
It's great. I'd love to hear what your first impressions on RoboCop were today. Chris, what's your history with RoboCop?
There was just a period where like I was like probably 8 and I was really into like Predator 2, that kind of deal. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I saw RoboCop. I understood well enough that it was of the same ilk.
Like, he could be friends with Predator. I buy that.
No, I just mean like same era of like
Yeah.
sci-fi action. Soft parody of the way that Predator is parodying action movies. But did not care for it as a kid. I don't think there's much in here for a kid to like too much. The guy himself, yes.
The Robot Cop, yeah, it's fun.
But the movie is definitely not a kid movie. But I don't mean that in the sense where it's like they swear and there's blood in this. I just mean that like this is not an entertaining watch without you paying attention to a degree. Like not because it's like, oh, it's so deep, but like I'm just saying that you have to like,
it's strange because no, RoboCop's not deep, but for a movie called RoboCop about a man who is a robot cop, this movie's deep. Like it's way.
Yeah.
Every time I watch this movie, sorry, my experience with RoboCop, never saw it. Watched it a couple of years ago. I was like, fuck, RoboCop's so good. Every time I watch RoboCop, I like it like 10% more. Like just something I've seen, even parts I've seen 100 times. Like when I see it again, I'm like, oh, this is the best. Like, this is the best time I've seen this scene. This scene just works for me now. Like, the first time I saw it, I was like, yeah, RoboCop's pretty good. And then just every time I see it, I like this movie more and more and more and more and more and more and more. Also, RoboCop's cool. Also, I think we've said this in the past. I'm pretty stoked that as a guy who has lived his whole life on the outskirts of Detroit, I'm happy I'm not a New York guy. He's like, we got Spider-Man. As a guy from Detroit, we got RoboCop. It's cool.
And they shot it all in Texas.
And there's a statue of RoboCop down here somewhere.
They haven't given it a permanent home yet.
Yeah, I think it's just been moving around. But
yeah.
I say, replace that big fist.
I'm going to start with... Yeah,
or that dumb guy holding those two
what
things.
What is the big fist supposed to be? Is it Joe Lewis's fist?
I don't know. Who's the guy doing this, holding the things?
Is that Atlas? Is he shrugging?
No, he's holding two things. Atlas is usually holding the globe.
I thought he was holding the globe, but he was like putting it down. He was like, oh, I'm tired.
No, he's standing like this. He's looking at one thing in one hand. He's got another thing in another hand. And sometimes
it's
they put
the red
jerseys
pill and
on
the blue pill.
Yeah.
He's choosing. It's a statue of him choosing.
Make that guy RoboCop or something.
Yeah. Well, which pill do you think RoboCop would take?
RoboCop?
Yeah, he'd take the red
He
pill.
eats baby food. He doesn't need pills. Or he'll be like, someone's got to protect the Matrix.
I'm not hungry.
If I'm out there, who's protecting the Matrix? That's what RoboCop would
That's what happens later. Lewis brings him baby food, and he goes, I'm not hungry.
It's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love RoboCop.
Here's something I'm going to jump ahead to.
That's that Mattress Man.
A little bit before that. Two of the bad guys in this movie. One is Leland Palmer. The other is Red Foreman, right?
Ray Wise and Kurtwood Smith.
Yeah. They do good.
They do great.
They do great.
They do so good.
I do not mean this in like a critique way. This is just me being funny, and it's something I genuinely felt, but I kept being like, no, okay, they're doing a good job though. Both of those actors, in my opinion, are like they just seem like actors.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And like there's just a degree to which like me having that knowledge and having seen them in other things, like there's a little bit of like just like let's get 'em boys about their bad boy.
Yeah.
To me, that's just like
yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
I'm always like, you're scarier as Red Foreman. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. Like every time he comes in and goes, "Bitches leave," I laugh at the top of my lungs.
I still totally get it, like, because there's sometimes where he's just like Red Foreman's like menacingly like not saying anything but smiling or smoking a cigarette, and I'm like, oh yeah.
Absolutely.
But then there's just something about their like strut that's just so soft and theater kid-y. Like,
oh, absolutely. Yeah, these are very West Side Story guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, I've never thought about that. Yeah, the bad guys in this movie are definitely
the softest
scary,
dudes.
scary and dangerous, but also at the same time, I do believe that they'll break out into dance at any moment.
But anyways, you get a cold open on something this movie goes back to a couple of times, which is like just the news or commercials, and those being like vehicles for satire.
I love.
Yeah. So one of the first ones you get is just like the news and like ridiculous violence that's going on. But the other thing that you get is like a privatized, like, we're the best heart surgeons in this. You pick the heart and we'll put it. Like, it's very funny to me.
And remember,
I literally wrote down
care.
You pick the heart and we care.
Yeah, like
very funny.
do you want the Nissan or the Yamaha heart?
Yeah.
It's great. I love it.
It is good. And then I believe we meet Murphy first, or do we see the ED 209 scene, the Ed 209 scene? Either way, those two things happen. ED 209 is shown in a board meeting, at the OCP board meeting.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's like a demonstration. He's like, point the gun at the big robot, and he's like, okay. And the robot's like, you have 20 seconds to comply. And then they're talking and stuff, and he's like, you have 10 seconds to comply. And they're like, you better put that gun down. So he does. And then the robot's still like tracking him and just murks him, just smokes him right in front of the whole boardroom.
Oh, insane. That guy explodes into blood.
Yeah.
I don't want to advocate for this.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone should ever do it.
There should never be robot cops, no.
There should never be a cop that's fully robot.
It has to have just the mouth of a man.
Have a mouth of a man. No, I never want anyone to go in and George Lucas of Star Wars and fix up an old movie like that. Mm-hmm. I would like them to go into RoboCop and make Ed 209 look 6% better.
Really? I thought the stop motion wasn't bad in this one.
The stop motion on Ed 209 specifically really gets me. I can even live with him falling out the window at the end with the super long arms.
Yeah.
Stop motion, I'm fine with that. For some reason, Ed 209 really grinds my gears.
Then we meet Murphy. Murphy's new on the beat. He's replacing Frederickson or something like that.
Yes, which is something I really like. The commercials and news at the beginning, they're talking about Fredrickson.
Yeah.
And how he's been shot, and he's hanging in there at the hospital, and they're like, good luck, Frank, or whatever. And then some time passes in the movie, and then you get to Murphy showing up, and everyone like, wow, this and that, we're gonna go on strike. And the police captain comes in and
we're policemen, we don't strike.
And he comes and takes Frank's name off of his locker, those, and he goes, you're all going to the funeral tomorrow. It's like, oh fuck, that was really good.
Yeah.
And I love him and Lewis. Murphy and Lewis are out on patrol.
Well, I think one thing we missed before that is there's a guy in like handcuffs that's like fighting off two cops. One of them is Lewis, and then Lewis beats up the guy in handcuffs.
Oh, karate kicks him,
a bit, and then Murphy goes, pretty neat. Which I gotta say, Murphy, not pretty neat. She just beat up a man in handcuffs.
Hey man, it's old Detroit. What are you gonna do?
It's new Detroit. It's the future.
All right. Well, he's from old Detroit. He's never seen nothing like this before. He's from South, got transferred to West, or other way around. She goes to get in the car. He goes, I like to drive, or whatever. And she's like, whatever. I do like the little touch that every time a cop car leaves this building, it has to scrape the entire underside of itself on that ramp. So sparks
it's an interesting
come out of
feature.
every car. Yeah.
That's something they got right about the future. My car does that all the time.
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
And then they're out on patrol or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's doing the little flippies with his gun. This is my favorite part of the movie.
Okay.
So he's doing the little
Before he's a RoboCop, you like that part the most.
I like when it pays off when he's a robot.
Oh, okay.
And he's doing little gun flippies, and she's like, that's neat. And he's like, yeah, my son likes this show. I don't know what Peter Weller's voice sounds like. I keep going into an impression. Couldn't tell you what he sounds like. And he's like, yeah, partner, my son loves TJ Laser, and he does gun flips after he kills men. So I thought I'd learn how to do gun flips. And then, Chris, can't tell you how much... like tears start forming in my eyes in this movie when later they're at the gun range and she sees RoboCop and he's got the big gun and he gets done shooting and the thing comes out of his leg and he does the little flip and puts the gun back. I'm like, oh, that is so good. Love it. Favorite part of this movie. That's that Mattress Man.
A little bit before that.
Okay.
I almost said Weller. Murphy and Lewis, they're chasing all the bad guys in their van with all their guns, and they go to their favorite little industrial building hideout hangout.
Right after Peter Weller catches a bullet with his teeth.
That is true. That does happen. They are like sneaking about. There's no chance for backup or whatever. They're like trying to arrest this guy, trying to arrest that guy. Doesn't work. Lewis is incapacitated. And they blow up Murphy.
Oh, yeah. Shoot his hand off, and then they shoot him into bits.
They shoot him into a million bits.
Something I'd like to point out that I think looks really nice, or they did a good job out in this movie, when they shoot him in the brain, and the back of his head explodes. Which you see in movies all the time. Obviously, it's a dummy head, because it's the 80s.
You're going to be very mad at me. The free version that was on YouTube was a TV edit.
Oh, no, Chris.
Yeah.
I watched the director's cut. This movie's so violent.
I know. I saw none of it, and also every time they say any curse word, it's freaking or crumb bag instead of scumbag or whatever it is.
Oh, Chris, it was right here in the other room. You could have just watched it with me. We were watching it at the same time. Anyway, when they blow up his head, it's obviously... shot from the back, a dummy, the head explodes.
Yeah.
But the shot starts from in front of Murphy.
Yeah.
So you see the front of the dummy's head.
Yeah.
And it's a little animatronic and it's moving. And it's pretty freaking believable.
Okay.
Like when I saw it, it looks just a little off. So I was like, is this going to be an exploding head? And then it moves and I was like, oh no, is it him? And I was like, oh no, this is an exploding head. I was just very impressed by it.
Yeah. Kudos. Hats off.
I'm sure you would have liked it if you saw it.
I would have loved it if I saw it.
They blow him to bits. It's gross. I saw it, not on TV. On Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Director's cut. 4K HD Blu-ray.
Beautiful. So, the guy who made Ed 209 is the adversary of Special Agent Albert.
Albert.
Yeah.
Rosenfield?
Sure.
Miguel Ferrer.
Yeah. And he's like, hey, that robot is dangerous.
Which,
how about let's turn a man into a robot?
Yes, love it. Which, by the way, speaking of Miguel Ferrer, it's insane to see somebody in a movie who is balding.
Yeah.
And see them and go, oh, they're so young. Like to see an actor I know from today in the 80s who is still in the 80s losing their hair and going, oh, man, look how young that man is.
Yeah. I think there's some young Bill. Bill?
Who's Bill?
Bruce. Oh, yeah, sorry. I think there's some young Bruce Willis that's like that.
Oh yeah, well, because he's been bald forever.
Yeah.
But also, rest in peace, Miguel Ferrer.
Yeah, rest in peace for sure. He's also in a really enjoyable Stephen King adaptation, Night Flyer.
Nice. He's also the vice president in Iron Man 3.
Wow.
What a life that guy had.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, he's like, how about let's mix all three of our favorite things together, robot men and cops, and that'll be great.
An Enterprise.
Yeah. There's a bit later where he's taking a piss and shit talking the guy who made Ed 209, and the guy overhears him. Then he's all like, you fucked up my thing. I could have sold this to the military and then parts for 25 years. And Special Agent Albert goes, yeah, but, you know, a big part of, like, a thing is that it works. And he's like, that doesn't matter if we make money. I like that little scene.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. But anyways, so they make the RoboCop, right? The RoboCop.
Yeah, I sorry.
Sure.
I do like that little moment, because from then on, when it comes to the bad guys' story arc, and Miguel Ferrer and this guy are always arguing, I'm like, yeah, this guy is correct. Like,
yeah, he's a sharky, snaky, like Wall Street type, sure, but yeah, he does have a point where it's like, yeah, but you can't just sell a robot that gives people 20 seconds to comply, and then whether or not they comply murders them.
No, I mean, Miguel Ferrer is wrong.
Oh, you think so?
In their world,
Yeah.
with what they're doing,
Yeah.
in the grand
Oh, you're talking about like making money?
in the grand scheme of this movie,
Yeah.
technically Miguel Ferrer
Yeah.
is a good guy. Like, he's
Yeah.
one of the protagonists.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, but he's out here to be a scummy businessman like the rest
Yeah.
of them. But he was so bad at it that he created the hero of this movie.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So RoboCop shows up for first day at work. Everybody's like, ooh, ah. He does the shoots.
Uh-huh.
He goes and shoots a guy in the dick, too.
Oh, before that, the part where he catches the car keys. Do you know this fun fact?
Sure, hit me with it.
Where they throw him the car keys?
Yeah.
The gloves on the RoboCop costume are like foam rubber.
Uh-huh.
So they would throw the keys. And A, he can't see because
Yeah.
he's wearing a robot costume. And B, because it's foam rubber, the keys bounce off the hand.
Yeah.
And so apparently it took 50 days and 50 takes and an entire day shoot to get that scene where he catches the car keys.
Yeah. Interesting.
It's fun.
I got a fun fact for you. So WCW pay-per-view called Capital Punishment, where RoboCop shows up in full costume. He comes to the WCW.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. And nothing. I mean, that was like the biggest thing was like obviously like whatever company made this movie was like, the suit can't do anything. He can't wrestle. He can't fight. He can do nothing. So he just kind of comes out, and even just coming down the ramp, like shit starts coming off of his legs. And
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Was it Peter Weller?
I don't know. It might have been. It
Can't
really
fake
might have
that
been.
mouth.
Yeah, you
Can't fake that mouth, baby.
Oh.
Every time RoboCop gets in and out of a car, you never see him actually do it.
Yeah.
Like
There was a couple of shots where I was like, I wonder if he's even wearing the bottom half.
He's not. No, he
Yeah, I
never is.
figured.
He's always wearing his, from what I read, very specifically in his underwear from the waist down. But yeah, whenever he's getting in and out of a car, you see him put one leg in and then it cuts, or he's getting out of the car and half of his body's already out. Yeah.
Yeah, that was like the biggest problem with it was that, for the WCW thing, they were like, he cannot even walk. So
If you guys have any kind of mechanism to make him arise from the floor, we'd be super into that.
yeah.
And apparently they ended up, it was so hot and heavy, the RoboCop costume, that he was losing 3 pounds a day in just water weight.
Good God,
Until they eventually put like an AC system inside of it.
Anyways, yeah, so he shoots the guy in the dick. You like this scene a lot?
Yes, because, oh my God, the most violent rapists I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah. Is there a lot in the director's cut that I didn't see? Because it's just kind of like a guy holding a guy or a girl, and then RoboCop goes freeze and shoots him in the dick, and then he says, "You've been raped. You need to go get a rape kit." And I was like, "Well, wild."
The scene starts with these guys chasing after her.
Yeah.
And they're going, wah, rah, rah, like they're like animals. They're like screaming, and she's just crying and screaming, and they grab her. And they're like, they have a knife, and they're like, blah, we're gonna give you a haircut, and they start cutting her hair. And one of the guys goes, "Wait, Jimbo, she's got more hair." Down there. And the guy gets under her skirt, and then RoboCop shows up and goes, "Freeze, wasteoid," or whatever RoboCop's famous line is.
Freeze, creeps.
And hold it, dicks. And then, shoots that guy in the dick through her legs. And
I have seen that edit online where they very, like, gratuitously do the dicks blowing up as they get shot, and he shoots a million dicks instead of just one dick.
It's from our RoboCop remake. It's like scene 37 or something like that. It is. I cry. Like, it's one of the few things in the world that makes me cry laughing every single time I see it. Yeah. It's one of the few things in the world that I think is hilarious that when I show to other people, 80% of the time, they go, this isn't funny. This is just hard to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Very funny.
The guy comes out at the end fully naked.
Yeah.
He's like, ah, and like RoboCop's targeting goes over him. It says foremost rapist identified.
That's awful. Oh shit.
Anyway, RoboCop shoots that man in the wiener.
Yeah, and then some other things happen. Like, but one thing I know for sure that happens is that like the old mayor is like holding the new. He does a January 6th.
Yes.
He does a January 6th, and I actually wrote down the line because it's so funny. He was like, they were like, "What do you want? What are your demands?" He's like, "I want my old job. I want a recount." He says, "I want a recount," and then whatever it is, I want my old job back.
Yeah.
And then his second demand is like, I want a car. I want a nice new car. And they're like, "You want a nice new car?" What, you know? And they talk about the car for a while. And then there's a point where he's like, "What about cruise control? Does it come with cruise control?"
It's great.
Very funny. RoboCop does a Frank Miller's Batman and punches through the wall and then grabs them.
Love it.
That stuff, that all happens. Then also Lewis is able to enter into his brainwaves and remind him that he's Murphy just a little bit.
Yeah.
Because just before that, he actually had a nightmare of getting murdered.
Love it.
And then everybody has a meltdown because they were like, he's not supposed to dream. He's a robot. He's not supposed to dream.
I think it happens when he's dreaming. No, it doesn't happen when he's dreaming. When he's dreaming, he makes that face. That's the meme where he's like. But I do love when he's walking in his old house and he's concerned, I think. I don't even think it happens there. There's a moment where RoboCop is worried. And obviously Peter Weller is just going to be doing all this acting with his mouth. So he's walking around like this with the smallest mouth I've ever seen a human make. Just, it's great. I love it.
Yeah. He also bumps into the guy who was one of the guys who murdered him.
The gas station?
The gas station man with the crazy sideburns that connect to his goatee in a way that I've never seen it done before.
Okay.
But it's the future, baby. This guy reading, and he's like, "What up, nerd? What you reading?" And, he's like, "Give me all the money and also no funny stuff. I'm going to fill up on 7, and it's out of your pocket." RoboCop shows up, freezes. He, the cop, in a bit of role reversal, he freezes. Because, again, the sight of this guy's crazy facial hair is reminding him that he used to be Murphy.
Yeah.
He's still able to, I think, kind of apprehend that. No, he shoots his car.
The guy blows the gas station up. And
it does, yeah, but he shoots the bike and he falls over. But then later he's covered in toxic sludge and becomes a monster.
Oh, that shit sucked. I forgot about that, yeah.
You didn't like that?
Oh.
I like it.
Did you see when he got hit by the car?
Yeah. But all I saw was it like hard cuts to the inside of the car, so if there's anything gross, then no, I didn't see that bit.
He turns into like liquid, basically. Like what it looks like.
Great.
What it looks like is basically they took a leftover Toxic Avenger costume and just filled it with muck and then hit it with a car.
Did I send you that Garfield TikTok where he's buying lasagna at Target?
I don't think so.
I did, but you didn't watch it. It's so funny to me.
But she was she posted on Halloween. She was like, should it be Garfield or Sexy Garfield? And she had that Garfield costume on in the first picture, and the second one was just a corset on over it. It was very funny.
But anyways, besides the Goo Man, so the next thing that happens is we cut to Special Agent Albert, and he's doing coke off of boobs, hanging out with a couple of women.
Oh, already? Okay,
doing coke. Is there something I'm missing?
No, not that I can think of.
Yeah. And there's a knock at the door. Oh my God, it's Red Foreman. And Red Foreman plays a little DVD for him after he shoots Special Agent Albert in the knees and stuff like that. And the DVD plays, and it's his rival. Yeah. It's his rival where he's basically like, "Oh, yeah, okay. Pathetic. Beg for your life, why don't you? Anyways, I'm going to kill you. I hired this guy to kill you."
You stupid asshole.
Yes.
Because I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I love when he's like talking to him in the bathroom earlier, and he's like, "Yeah, we used to have a bunch of nicknames for the boss. We used to call him Shit for Brains and Do Butt." It's like I made those two up, but it's something like that, like something super insane, and then Fart Head.
He's like, he literally says, even one time I called him asshole. TV edit? He's like, geez, even one time I called him an airhead.
So great.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, that's what it was at first I was like, oh, I'm gonna watch the TV edit, and then they started saying like crumb bag, and I was like, I'm gonna watch the TV edit.
Oh fuck! You guys see RoboCop? I'm gonna crumb.
Yeah. So anyways, Special Agent Albert gets blown up by a grenade, but not before. Wait.
Oh, we missed. There's a part where RoboCop stops that store from getting robbed. That grocery store or whatever.
Continue.
So the guy comes in around. He's like, "Boy, it's a safe. We ain't got no safe. I know your safe is right here." He kicks all over the cans. The safe's under there. And RoboCop throws that guy through the window, I think, and he says something funny. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I can't remember that scene either.
He's like, "Hey, have a good day, folks.
Have a nice day."
Yabba yabba." And then he leaves on a skateboard.
Yeah. But anyways, I believe Murphy now does the thing where he pulls a knife out of his thing, like a Wolverine knife, and he stabs it into a computer.
His USB knife, his
Yeah.
USB ice pick that's in his hand.
Yeah, and he accesses Matthew Broderick. I think that's the name of Fred Foreman's character.
Yeah, Matthew Broderick.
And then he accesses that he had killed Alex Murphy or whatever, and he's like, "Oh my God, that's me! Oh my God, this guy killed me." Then he goes and he gets a guy. I believe it's he goes and gets Leonard Cohen. I think that's the name of Leland Palmer's character in a nightclub.
Mm-hmm.
Who Leland Palmer tries to kick him in the dick, and it hurts Leland Palmer more than it hurts RoboCop. But basically, he's like, "Take me to Matthew Broderick," or whatever he says. Where's Matthew Broderick? Whatever. He goes and gets Matthew Broderick. He's on the brink of killing the dude. Matthew Broderick just spills his guts.
I like RoboCop.
I like too.
I like the scene where he's trying to, the Red Foreman is trying to talk that guy into selling him his business or something like that, or like
Yeah.
in the coke deal. And they're sitting down talking, and he's like, "Hey, come on, Tigers play tonight. I never miss a game." And then the door goes. And everyone's like, "Well, we
Looks
should."
like you're missing a game.
Yeah, everyone's like, "Oh, we should leave." And then I'd love to see this scene from the other side of the door where RoboCop is trying to kick this door down for what feels like a minute and a half. It's so funny.
Like you're saying, like watch it play out, but the whole time in the background, the door is just.
No, I want to go on the other side of the door where we see RoboCop go.
Oh, just.
Oh god, it's so funny. And yeah, RoboCop comes in, wipes the floor with everybody, and goes, "Hey," and he's like, "I work for the cops."
He spills his whole guts. He's like, the cops are. He literally says like, the cops are the bad guys. The cops are owned by OCP.
He goes, "You see this?" And he puts his hand in his pocket and he pulls out a bunch of beans. He goes, "I'm spilling them," and he throws them all over the floor.
He's like, Dick Jones is my boss. That's my guy, which I like because later when he's talking to Dick Jones, he's like, he is a robot. Everything he sees, he records. That's all evidence.
Mm-hmm.
So then RoboCop decides to march into Dick Jones's office.
Love it.
And Dick Jones is like, Autobots attack. And he has all the cops. And he literally, like, there's a point where, like, Lewis is like, "No, don't shoot the RoboCop." And then one of the guys is like, "We have orders to destroy it." And then they destroy it. They shoot it a bunch, which is interesting. Because it's just like at the beginning.
Where RoboCop got to shoot it a bunch.
By the bad guys.
Do we get...
But now, he's getting shooted by the bad guys.
Who really are the good guys, Chris? Who watches the Watchmen? Do we miss the part where he goes home?
Yeah, but you talked about it briefly. Is there more you want to say about it?
He makes a funny face.
He goes into the house. It
goes-
reminds him of things he did with his wife and his kid.
Well,
It reminded me of The Crow.
He goes, "Well, my kid was the devil. My wife was smoking.
Hot.
I had a whole life, and now I'm just a mouth."
Yep. Well, there's more face under there.
Unfortunately, yeah, we'll get to it.
Anyways, he like falls into the sewer or something after all the shooting
Just like a
happens.
Michael Myers, yeah.
Yeah. And Lewis brings him to the industrial hangout where the bad guys hang out.
You know, I don't remember where they go. I don't even remember how they find each other.
She finds him and brings him to like what I think is the same place that he died in.
Okay, could be.
But anyways,
I know.
she-
I think yeah. I know.
She
that's
brings
where-
him a gun and a drill and some baby
Baby
food.
food, yeah.
Yeah. And he takes his face and says, "Here's the rest of it."
And she goes, "Can you put that back on, please?"
But he doesn't. He
And I go,
refuses to
"Can
wear it
you
for the rest
Put
of
that back on, please. And then the rest of the movie happens, and I'm like, somebody put that hat back on.
It's 2 screws, man. You have the drill.
You already said earlier that your targeting is off. I'm sure not having the head on isn't helping. Just put it back on, man.
Yeah, isn't that where the computer grid goes?
Yeah,
Isn't
exactly.
that
Or
what
they
the
built into
visor
your
is?
eyes. That means, Chris, that has to mean they put the helmet on because they saw his
like,
face and they're
"Whoa."
like, this can't be part of it.
Yeah.
We have to take this out of the equation.
Yeah, because that tells me it's built into the eyes, all the grid stuff. But anyways, they... it's
Awful. I hate it.
RoboCop then goes and guns down the Broderick crew.
Yes, and they are doing some real Freddy Krueger, Tom and Jerry shit. Just dropping pylons and debris on top of him and stuff.
Yeah. There's all kinds of stuff with the Toxic Avenger and getting hit by a car. And
Yeah.
there's a point where,
They've got those insane guns that make everything explode. Love
they
it.
do. Yeah. There's a point where Lewis is on Broderick's tail and then just gets lit up. She gets smoked.
Yeah.
But then the RoboCop shows up and he's like, "Freeze, asshole." And, Broderick drops the gun. And he's like, "Oh, okay, all right, yeah, haha. A little bit of cops and robbers, I get it." And he's like, this time I'm not arresting you. That's him just slowly, like, raising the gun as it cuts to, like, Leland Palmer, like, working a crane, like, and then he, like, drops all the metal on RoboCop before he can smoke him.
And then that guy from Police Academy comes on that helicopter and he's going,
Yeah. And then Lewis goes, "It's just been revoked," and shoots Leland Palmer with the blow-up gun, with the grenade gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
She...
shoots Broderick?
No, Broderick comes beating the shit out of RoboCop, who's pinned under all that stuff.
Yes.
And RoboCop pulls out his USB spike and stabs him in the side of the head with it.
Ooh. I must have looked away for a second.
It's brutal. Or you were watching the
TV
TV edit.
Yeah.
I really like this line here where she goes,
I'm real messed up.
"I'm real messed up, Murphy."
And
he
he's
goes,
like,
"It's okay. They'll fix you. They can fix everything." It's great.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember how they get out of that situation. All I remember is it cutting to the boardroom.
I think it does. I think it just cuts to the boardroom, and what does he show up and he just says, "Hey, you're under arrest, bitch."
He shows up and goes, "Hey, I'm under arrest." And everyone goes, "Oh my God, where's your helmet?" And that guy, the main bad guy, puts a gun to CEO man's head and he goes, "I want a car with cruise control and a helicopter." And that guy goes, "Dick, you're fired." And RoboCop goes, "Thank you," and shoots him. And he falls out of the window and he's got big long arms.
Yeah.
And RoboCop goes, "My work here is done."
And then it just says RoboCop.
Yeah, there's a little twinkle in his eye and a big circle transition around his face. And he winks. And then it says,
And he goes,
RoboCop.
that's all, folks.
I do like when he goes to show them the evidence of him being bad. He pulls out his USB spike and it's still covered in blood. And he goes to put it out. I just want it to not work. And someone come up and goes, "Oh, you have to clean that off first." Yeah, and that's RoboCop.
That's RoboCop. I'm gonna say probably like a B+.
I'm gonna give RoboCop a A-.
Yeah, okay.
Any closing thoughts?
You have 20 seconds to conclude.
To Mattress Man. No.
Hey, it's fun. It's action-packed. It's a little gory. It's funny. It's action-packed. It's a little gory. And it's fun. And it's action-packed.
Well, as someone who watched it not on TV, I think it's fun. I think it's action-packed. I think it's extremely gory.
Yeah. And you know what? It's fun.
Oh, it's a blast. And it's smarter than it has any right to be.
Yeah. And it's pretty well written, and it's got a robot who is also a man and a cop. And it also has a lot of familiar faces, if you've seen any TV show that was made in the 90s.
Would he technically be a cyborg cop since he's part man?
Ooh.
But Cybo Cop doesn't sound as good as RoboCop.
No.
Well,
You have 10 seconds to conclude.
I'm trying. We talked about it at the beginning. Chris, so how do you feel about doing a year of a podcast?
Oh, a year of doing a podcast? I don't think I have too much profound to say. It feels like just yesterday.
Same. That's at Mattress Man. Yeah, no, I got nothing. I was just saying that. I was like, it'll be nice to talk about. And I was like, no, I got nothing to say. And
No.
I'm just having a blast, and we do it every week.
Yeah.
Thanks to the 9 of you that listen, or 1,000. I don't know. Chris checks the analytics. We could have 10 to 10,000 people listening. I don't know.
Nick, there are 3 million people listening to this podcast every
That's
week.
more than 10,000. I wish I would have wrote something down.
So that's
Time Mattress Man. Gotcha. New year, new me. I'm doing the outros now.
If you need more soup, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or go to our website, eatingsoupalone.com. And until next time,